Play a slow song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Play a slow song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 turn it up and then I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.
Well, there we go. Hello, people. How we doing? Hope everyone's having a good day. Random as ever, I know, but it's just something I want to get out of the way. This game on Thursday is starting to get to the point where I think a few of us are now getting worried. It is basically make or break for this season on whether we get this Europa Cup or not. And that is just the point the season has got to. I think the other side to look at this one is in the aspect of, I know we need this cup. Because if we don't get this cup, then we can be screwed up for the next 3 years. Easy. If we don't get this cup, no Champions League, no extra money income. How are we going to go out and get the players? How are we going to have any pulling power for any players? How are we going to have anything that can take us up a level or two? Now, I'm the first one to agree. We need a new manager. Ange is not the one, and I think most of us agree with it now. I think a half-decent manager can get this team working. At least up to a 8th place, something like that. I mean, even if we finish in the top 10 next season, it's going to be a lot better than this season, isn't it? But on the other side of it as well, just the way I'm looking at it a bit different. If we also go and win this Europa Cup, is that going to put such a picture over the season, basically, where a majority of people accept it and turn a blind eye to it? That's the bit that I'm thinking about. I mean, would this season, if we win that Europa, still be a bit of a disaster of a season, or would people call it a successful season? Yeah, we've got a cup with Spurs. We're dying for a cup. Anything with a cup would be successful. I get that. But it's like when you listen to the two managers in it speaking, you listen to the Man U one who goes on about this season, even if we win this cup, has been a bad year. No two ways about it. We need to fix up. We need to get our act together. We need to look at our problems. We need to fix our problems. Then you look at Ange and he just doesn't seem to say the same sort of stuff, does he? He just makes it out as such that, yeah, we win this, the season is brilliant. The season has been excellent. Again, on the aspect of winning a cup, of course it has. I mean, even if we went and won a League Cup, it's something we haven't won nothing in 17 years now. 17 years. And yeah, if we don't go and beat Bodo, let alone get to the final, it's definitely game over. I mean, for me, the season was done 3-4 months ago. I can even understand what Ange done in the last game to the extent of not putting a full team out there, leaving certain players out. Because for me, these league games are pretty irrelevant now. I know a lot of people feel different, but I don't. I really don't care whether Spurs finish 14th or 17th. It's irrelevant to me. It makes no difference to the season whatsoever. Maybe about 3-4. What is it? About £6 million difference it'll make. So, but the cup can rescue the season to an extent. But for me, the season would still be a disaster. Finishing 14th, 17th of a club of our size is just not acceptable. Even if we do go and win this cup. Surely people can't sit here and tell me it's been a good season just because we won a cup. And again, I do say just lightly because at Spurs, we are desperate. We are craving for that blood. We are like vampires in that aspect that have just had no blood. We need that cup. And it's more ways than one. But I just still think that even if we do win that cup, it can put a whole shadow over the season, basically. People will ignore it. People will ignore how crap certain players have been. Ange will get bigged up all the way, which, in a way, he deserves credit if we win this cup. No, I don't rate him. Everybody knows that. But if he does go and get the cup, and the players are going to get praised for it, then Ange, he's got to get some credit for it as well. I mean, I've never seen an easier route to a cup final. I really can't say I have. And pretty much every game we've played in this Europa Cup, you would expect a half-decent manager with this Spurs team to win a majority of those games. I mean, I've put a link at the top. If anyone wants to pop on and give me their opinion, feel free. Yeah, where do we go? I mean, the injuries, and we do have a few injuries in that team. What style is he going to play? We know they're going to have about 5 players back in their team that they didn't have with us and still managed to score a goal at our game. If we'd have kept that 3-0 for me, nothing's impossible, but I would have said game over. I'd have said we got that. I think that when we went 3-0 up, some people saying we should have gone for the kill totally. I can understand that one. Me personally, the way I would play football, I would have shut up shop at 3-0 and not let nothing happen. For me, the players got complacent. That is why we conceded that goal. I don't even blame that one on Ange. I think the players just got complacent there, thought the job was done. Bang, we gave them a chance. And they do play significantly better at home. So I'll go into a couple of the players in a minute. Just going to say hello to a couple of people. Like I say, random stream as ever, and probably 4:30, not the best time to do it, but either way. And Paul123, all right, Dan, big up, mate. Coys, big up to you, fella. I hope everything's going good. Ben, you all right, everyone? Hope everyone is well. Same to you, mate. And Marios, if I've said your name right, big up Dan, big up to you too, mate. Scott, big up to all Coys, big up to you. Ghosted, big up Dan, big up to you too, mate. Rob, hello Dan, hello Rob. Hope everything is a good day for you. I mean, I keep saying this to everyone. Hope everyone's having a good day. I can't see why it could be a bad day, but and then the Boomverse, big up Dan and all, and Marius, it's a disaster for me. It is a disaster. I agree as well. Even if we go and win this trophy, for me, this season will be a total disaster. And it will show how bad this manager has been and how bad our football has been. Conceding the same goals every game, playing the same system every game, and not just adapting to football itself. Right, just give me 1 minute. Bloody awkward to use these things. But for me, mate, I totally agree. I still think it would be a disaster. And I just think this cup would just be, talk about like wallpaper over the crack of the wall, basically. That is how I would see it. But on the other side of it, it's desperate. It's make or break. We need this. Otherwise, it can easily screw us up for the next 3 years. Some have said even more than 3 years. But definitely, if we don't get this and we don't get through it and we don't get the money for it and we don't get the pulling power of the Champions League, where are we really going to go from now? What sort of players can we look at? Levy won't put in more money to spend. I mean, he's already making statements on the aspect of the club has no money to spend and that we're going to have to sell first. But for me on that side, that's just bullshit from Levy. We know he speaks a lot of it. I mean, what real businessman with half a clue is going to come out there and say, yep, we got 500 million in the bank and that's what we're going to spend. We're going to spend big. There's not many businessmen that would do that. For me, that would be a silly thing to do because then you're basically telling everyone you got all the money and a player that would cost, let's say, 40 million will all of a sudden cost 60 million because they know you got the money in the bank. But, mate, I totally agree with you. It's a disaster. For the fact that we're even relying on this cup so much to try and make the season, for me, it makes it even more of a disaster. And Daniel 90, Ange the pub manager, yes, he is, if he is lucky. Big up Dan, big up to you too. Tony, always good to see you on here. Big up Dan Guess and the chat. Bodo Glimp, Spurs 3-1, Ange out, happy clapper. Happy clappers out. And yeah, Tony, 3-1 gets through then because it's extra time. And Bob Barrett, yeah, good afternoon, Dan. Good afternoon to you too. And the chat, get these likes and subs smash, people. Thanks a lot, mate. Appreciated. Angus, Arsenal support on here. But how we doing, mate? You always come on the show. And big up, Dan. How you doing, mate? I am fine. Do you know what? A little bit pissed off with the day. Got up earlier than what I would usually do. Had an appointment that I had to go to, and then when you're on the way to the appointment, it gets cancelled. It can be quite annoying. But either way, ghosted. League form, big up to you too, mate. League form is trash. But at the end of the day, we're Spurs. We don't win trophies anymore. On that basis, I'd say successful, although the league form cannot continue next season. This is where I can agree to an extent. Any sort of cup makes it for Spurs because we are so desperate to get a fucking cup. Isn't it that bad that we are that desperate that we can sit here and say, some people can sit here and say that the season would be a success at finishing 17th, 16th, I think we're 15th or 16th, I think we're going to finish. Because I think we'll get another point out of there somewhere. And on the basic that we won a cup, the whole season's been a success. That is not, it's not a good attitude to have for your team. It's not a good attitude for a club to have. But the way we are so dry of cups, some will say it was a success. And Angus, if Bodo score early, how are you going to react to it? You know what, mate? I think that's a very good question. For me, a lot comes on this first goal. How do we go into the game? I personally think, again, I know my style of football that I like is very different to what others like. I do like pragmatic football, counter-attacking football. That's why I love Serie A so much. But then that's just a personal opinion. I know other people like all-out attack. I think was all we're asking for in Spurs now is just a bit of coordination, just a bit of, know how to defend and attack, because there is two sides of the game, whereas Ange only seems to know one thing, and our defence just looks one of the worst around, not just the Premier League, but one of the worst in Europe. I know there's teams that have conceded more goals than us, but our defence, the way it plays, is just absolutely shocking. The way it hasn't got a clue on what to do. We just have no training in defence, and it shows big time. I mean, I can't picture the manager up there training with the defence, getting the training they need, and then coming back and the defence play like that. This is all down to the system and the tactics for me. Yeah, some of the players, they just haven't provided when it's come to it. And we've seen a lot of individual mistakes this year. But where have these individual mistakes come from? I'd say 8 times out of 10, it's always come on a player that is under pressure because of the system we are playing, or because the goalkeeper is told to pass it out and does some stupid pass in front of our own goal, where there is a high chance he's got 3 players coming at him and he's only got 2 options to pass to, Van der Ven there or Romero there or whatever defenders on the side. And it's just putting more pressure on ourselves. But going back to what you're saying, if Bodo score early, I think we're in serious trouble. This team, this manager, just does not seem to have the mentality or the bottle or the capability to hold it. Okay, against Frankfurt, yes, we did. We went all in defence in the second half and we managed to get it. But I think Bodo, and from what I've seen and from what I've heard of people, I've only had a few looks on them on YouTube, basically. So I can't really rate them too much. But from a lot of what other people say, and they are going to have players back, it's going to be a whole different game, especially playing on a plastic pitch. That's going to be something that our players are just not used to. I know they train on that sort of thing, on artificial, but still, they're just not going to be used to that like the other team are. And I think that's going to hit us hard as well. If they score that first goal, I do believe we are in serious trouble. And then we can lose that game quite easily. If we get that first goal, then that puts us 3 goals ahead. Then I think it could be game over, as long as we score that first goal. But they're definitely going to come at us. They're the ones who've got to score the goals. Technically, we don't even have to score a goal, even if they score 1. But since when does Spurs defence ever go without conceding a goal? That is the problem. And I think that is what everyone is scared of. We all know what this team is capable and incapable of. And it is very rare that we go through a game without conceding at least 1 goal. I think with this game, we have got to go for a counter-attacking approach. Like Sava would say, play sensible. Be a bit more pragmatic in this game. Come back a little bit deeper. I'm not saying go all out defence. Not at all. I don't think that's a good idea because we're not good at defence. But just come back that little bit deeper. Try and control what they put at us. And then if we get a chance, take it. Get the direct ball forward and take a shot on goal. Not try and walk it into the net. Take some chances. Try and hammer their keeper a bit. Try and put a bit of pressure on them with chances that we will get. We will get chances because they have got to come at us with everything they've got. And I think we need to play this game in a counter-attacking style. I don't know what anybody else thinks. I know there's people out there who think we should just go out and go for the kill. I just don't think that's a smart move to do. We don't have to. We can hold this back and do it on a counter. And when have we looked best all season? I think we have looked best, at our best this season, when we have played counter-attacking football and don't use those fucking inverted wing backs. It's the main thing I always go on about, because I think that is the main problem of the team, using those two inverted wing backs. Even if we just use one of them, have the other come across and make it free at the back, it would be a lot safer. But the manager don't seem to do that. And on the other side of it as well, there's certain players that we know won't play, and we got a few injuries as well. I'll go into them in a minute as well. And definitely a big one that I think has just put a big punch on us, let alone winning this game, but winning the competition. Archer, good afternoon. Dan and chat, good afternoon to you too, mate. And Phil Coys, as always, big up, Dan, big up to you too. And I'm not even going to try and say your first name, mate, but I'll just say Wembley. I bite my own tongue off saying it. I'm not good at pronouncing names. Afternoon, Dan. I have this awful, dreadful feeling we are going to get blown away up there on Thursday night. If nothing else, the thought of Vicario's antics on the artificial surface is a nightmare. Mate, I totally agree with you. Vicario, for me, is definitely one that I'm starting to get a few worries about. When we first got him, I told a lot of people we got a good goalkeeper there, and we got him cheap as well. Inter Milan practically had him in the palm of their hands, but they had Celenada first to get the money. We came in and basically took him. As a shot stopper, I think Vicario is an excellent shot stopper. One of the best in the Premier League, I would say. One of the top three. Top four, top three. Either way, one of the best in the Premier League at shot stopping. When it comes to the other side of things, he scares me. He seems to be very loud all over the pitch when the ball's all up the other end of the pitch. But as soon as it comes down to our side, he seems to shut up when it comes in our box. No command, no control. Rarely do I ever see him getting involved as such. Telling players, mark him, cover this. But when it's all over the pitch, he's loud as anything. He's shouting, he's screaming at everyone. So why does he shut up when it comes into our own half? I think some of this also comes down to that the goalkeeper has got no faith whatsoever in the defence. And I think the defence have lost a lot of faith in the goalkeeper as well. There's just no link there. I don't necessarily think that's down to the players again as such. Not all of it. I think a lot of it is down to the system again. Because he knows the system is just that screwed up and the tactics, he knows there's a good chance he's not going to get the support he needs. The way he comes flying out and trying to punch some of the balls that he should be catching, the way he comes out and tries to punch some of the balls and literally totally misses it and goes flying through everybody and lands on top of people. And also, when it comes to a dead ball situation, we have one defender that is actually good in the air, and he's not playing, and that's Dragusin. That is actually one of his strongest points. He's actually solid in the air. Can Van der Ven head the ball? How tall is this man? 6'3", 6'4", something like that. He's definitely tall, and he can't head the ball for shit. Come love nor money. Romero, no. He's not very good in the air either. Danzo, 50-50 from what I've seen. So we don't have much support when the ball comes flying in, do we? And yeah, Vicario on an artificial pitch on top of it, I totally agree with you, mate. It does definitely put the shits up there. And I think just lately, Vicario, he seems to have gone downhill overall. We still get great saves out of him in games. Some excellent saves. I mean, that save at West Ham that he pulled off on his reflexes, I thought that was a brilliant save. But then getting nutmegged at your close post, that is not what a good goalkeeper should be doing. He should have that covered. But then you can look on it on the deeper side. Why was it even there in the first place? It all goes down to about 3 or 4 mistakes before then. And the fact that the player was there on his own, able to do that, you can blame that on the rest of the squad as well. But for me, Vicario should have had that one with West Ham. I mean, West Ham, I don't even really want to talk about that game. That has got to be one of the driest, worst, shocking games of football I have watched in a long, long time. Neither team looked like they had a clue what they was doing or was even bothered about the game. And Brian, big up, Dan. Great show. Thanks a lot, mate. Appreciate it. Big up to you. And even if we win the Europa, it covers up the cracks. That's exactly the points I am getting at. Does it actually mean it's a good season, or does it just cover up the cracks on the bloody wall? And for me, it just covers up the cracks on the wall. But again, like I've said, we desperately need this to rescue Spurs, full stop. Because otherwise, the next 3 seasons, I think it will drag on through there, and we could be in serious trouble for a while. And then we could just be looking at Tottenham being a top 10 club if we are lucky. Because the other clubs ain't going to hold back. Chelsea are going to spend money. Newcastle are going to try and spend money. Villa are going to spend money. We know what Liverpool and Arsenal do. And also, Man U, if they don't even win the cup, we also know Man U have got more than enough capability and pulling power to get players out there. Even if they have the same sort of season we have, which they basically have. But Man U have still got that pulling power of being Man United. They'll put the wages on the table. They'll also spend big on the money. And yeah, it gives them that extra pulling power. And other teams above us as well, they're all going to be making transfers as well. And that will knock us further and further down if we do not have that money to spend. And Jazz Fusion, looking forward to the future, can only go up from here, right? Right? I suppose so, if you want to look at it like that. Are we going to do any worse than finishing 17th? The only way that's getting worse is we get relegated. I don't see that happening. I mean, this season I said I could see us in a relegation battle. And no, it hasn't really been a relegation battle, but we've definitely looked over our shoulder a few times. And we should not be fighting for 16th, 17th place. So I suppose you're right. It can only go up from here. I mean, the next manager who comes in, as long as he's got half a clue about football, even just an average manager, basically, which isn't what we really want a good manager, but even just an average manager who has a clue how to set up a team and play with the fucking cards he's got, can get us up the table significantly. So I suppose you're right. It ain't going to get no worse. I suppose time will tell, but I do agree with you on that one. I don't think next season is going to be as bad as this one unless we hang on to Ange. I mean, with the hang on to Ange bit as well, some people are even still talking that if he goes and wins that cup, he deserves another season. Really? Is someone telling me we give this man another season? I can understand the morals of it. Or can say I get them. Not necessarily understand them, but I get the morals of it. He will be the most successful manager at Tottenham in the last 40-odd years. And finish 17th in the league. And he will be more successful than Poch. And I think that's going to hurt a few people as well. To have to say that basically our shittest manager ever, fact on paper, and in my opinion, one of the worst managers I've ever seen in the Premier League, would be our most successful manager. And that would probably be one of the most Spursy things that could ever happen. And Ryan, big up Dan in chat, big up to you too, mate. And Dodo, I went to the Bodo game. I was generally shocked on how bad Johnson is. How did he ever get into Premier level? Mate, just don't ask me. I do not know. A lot of people say we play him the wrong way. I mean, one thing you can't take away from Johnson, yeah? That is now, 17 goals he scored this season? 17. So I suppose, again, you've got to give credit where credit is due. That is 17 goals he scored this season. And without those goals, we could have been in serious trouble. But for me, he is a shocking player. And the main issue I have with him, I know he's got the lack of capability to take his man on. He seems to be, for me, the slowest, quickest player I've ever seen. He can't cross. He can't shoot from a distance. He can't dribble the ball. I do not rate him at all. But one thing he seems to be able to do is just get into that position at the right time to tap it in the net. And if that's what he's there to do, then fine. But every time he seems to do that, he then goes missing for the next 80 minutes of the game. Like literally turns into a ghost. Gone. Baked potato. See you later. He's gone. He's not there. You don't even notice him on the bloody pitch. And that is frustrating. I mean, this team we're going to set up, how are we going to do it? Are we going to have Johnson on the right? Are we going to have Richarlison up front? Solanke supposedly injured, but I'm reading that he's also coming back from an injury as well. And I don't even rate Solanke highly either. He's another one I think, yes, we're playing in the wrong way. A better manager, I think we'll see a bit better out of him. But he's another just bang average player like Richarlison that Spurs have just gone and spent a lot of money on. I mean, is really anybody telling me that we could not have spent 65 million better than Solanke? But it was what Ange wanted, wasn't it? Like a lot of people said, he matches the Ange ball system, doesn't he? Yeah, sure he does. And Jazz, the problem with the cup is that United also need it. Oh, yes, they do. But I just don't think United need it as desperate as us. Yes, they do need it to rescue their season as well, which would, in a way, you can even say Man U's season, even if they finish 2 places above us, has been even more of a disaster than our season. I mean, that's Manchester United, and they're fighting for 15th place. They're fighting not to finish 17th, and they're fighting for a chance to get into Europe by winning the Europa Cup. If anyone would have told you this 20 years ago, you'd have laughed at them. You'd said, not a chance in fucking hell. Never would that happen. You tell the fella to go to the nut house, mate. You got an issue. Go get a straitjacket on. But with Man U, if they don't win it, they will still go out and spend the money. They will still go out and put the wages on the table. They will still go out and buy players, and they will still have a better pulling power and attraction than Spurs will. So I think for Spurs, it is more desperate for us to win it than United. But I do totally agree with what you're saying. United need it as well to half rescue a season. And Fifth Element, oh, big up Dan from BK New York. I presume that is. Big up to you too, mate. Good to see you on here. And Peter Simons. Hi, Dan. If we list this trophy, the league position will be forgotten. Yes, and for me, that is a problem. If we go and lift this trophy, we cannot forget how shit this season has been and how bad we have been. But people will. They will just brush it aside and say, because we got a cup, I can turn a blind eye to the season. I can't do that. I'll be over the moon. I'll like a lot of people, I will be cheering. I'll be shouting if we win that cup. I am desperate for us to win something, just like the rest of the people on here. But I will not turn around and say that this season has then been a success. I cannot do that when over 38 games we have been as shockingly shit and poor as we have. And for that reason, again, I don't care about moles. I don't care about sympathy, empathy, whatever words you want to use for all this crap. I really don't care. I think as a fan base, we have a problem of is that we are too sentimental. And I think a lot of fans almost try and be too moral. I mean, Son is the example I use, and I know everybody loves him. I haven't got it in for him. I think he's been a great player for Spurs. But personally, I think he's done on this level. I do not think he's... Keep him as a sub, okay, I get it, yeah? But I do not think he's good enough for our first team anymore. You look at what we got up front, you could say Son is better. I get that. But a big club, in my opinion, 2 years ago would have already started seeing Son was slowly on the way down. Right, what do you do? We could still get 60 million for him, sell him. That is what we should have done, in my opinion. But no, we got this, a lot of sentimental people saying, look what he's done for us for 9 years. You've got to keep him longer. Don't be disrespectful to him. Well, I'm sorry, but it's a dog-eat-dog world, isn't it? If you want to get to the top, you don't do it through being nice. So if Ange goes and wins this, yes, he deserves credit. But like hell do we go and keep him? Never. I just can't see why a team would do that when he has finished. You know what? If we'd have finished 9th or 10th, I think a few people could have been more forgiving on it, me being one of them. Like, okay, been terrible season, but 10th and a cup, I can deal with that. But 16th or 17th and a cup, the man's got to go. He's out of his depth in that Premier League. And if a lot of people still don't see it, for me, he's just completely out of his depth. But I think you're right there. A lot of people will just forget the position and forget the season. It's a very convenient to do for some of the other Ange supporters as well, isn't it? And Dan 90 saying Premier League moved the Villa game to the Friday in case we get to the Europa final. Yeah, I read that earlier. That's a good thing. You can't really complain about that. And I assume you're an Inter fan, right? That is correct. Favorite Inter player, favorite Italian style Serie A player. Favorite Inter player, I've always liked them because they are that good at the counter-attacking football. At the moment, I would say my favorite player, I do like Martinez. He's one that I would definitely love to see at Spurs as striker, but it's not going to happen. But Balotelli's good. They've got some very good players there at that club, and I do like the way Inter play. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting game tonight, I think it is, if I remember right, with them and Barcelona. I mean, they conceded 3, but they also scored 3. I think a few people underestimate Inter Milan. For me, they are probably the best defensive team in Europe at the moment. And that's not just because they're my second team. That is just what I genuinely believe. I think Inter are the best defense in Europe. But if I'm going to answer a quick question here as well, my favourite Serie A player of all time is just got to be Batistuta. He was always one I loved. One at Inter, I always loved him when he was there, was Christian Vieri, another excellent player in my opinion. But there's been a lot there over the times. I mean, you've had Ronaldo there and a lot of others. And Angus, I know exactly how you are going to go into the game Ange ball. Mate, I just hope you're wrong. I think a lot of us can see this and just are praying that it doesn't happen. And if we go into that game and go all out guns blazing, that is where we are going to get. That is where we're going to get hurt in a big way. We need to play this game in a sensible manner. Can Ange pull that off? Again, only time will tell with it. And Marius, thoughts on protests happening before the potential Europa final? I haven't heard nothing about it, mate. I haven't heard nothing about protests before the final. Last one I've heard about is a possible protest before the Crystal Palace game, if I remember quickly. Don't quote me on it. It's just what I've heard. I can't remember if that's the one. But what would be the points before a Europa final? I don't see many people getting over to Spain to do a protest there. And if we went and done a protest outside our own ground with absolutely nothing going on, I don't actually see a point to it either. And Ronnie, Angus, if Tottenham score early, how are you going to react to it? Again, that would be an interesting one to see how everyone reacts to it. I think if we concede an early goal, I think people are going to hide behind their chairs. If we score early, I think the game is done personally. And Dan's saying the more important question is, Angus, how are you going to react if you concede early? Then you're 2-0 down on aggregate in a blink in the eye away from the fortress like Paris. For me, Arsenal are not going to do Paris Saint-Germain. I think Paris Saint-Germain look very, very good this year. And playing them away as well. One thing we all know with Arsenal is when it does come to the crunch in the past 5 years, if anything, they're bigger bottle jobs than Spurs. Why? Because Spurs haven't been in this situation to bottle it. Arsenal have had chance after chance after chance over the past 4 years now to get something out of it, and they have bottled it every single fucking time. And it is amusing, obviously, for Spurs fans. I mean, a lot of Arsenal fans have complained that we just can't do that league because City are just too good, whatever. Yeah, and then the season City have probably their worst season in a while and still looking at third place, by the way, is the time that Liverpool steps up and you still can't pull your finger out your ass and get your act together. And Jazz, what we want competence in all 3 phases. Yes. as all we seem to see at the club is incompetence. And Ronnie, Spurs are on the way to Bilbao. Let's hope you're right there, mate. And Angus saying, Daniel, no, it's not no way. Goals don't count anymore. Away goals don't count no more. No, they don't. But if I personally think PSG are going to wipe the floor here. And Naf, what you're saying here, I want to see us get knocked out of the second leg to stop us getting knocked out by Man United. Really? I mean, I think that's another question a lot of people seem to be asking. Who would we want in the final? I mean, Man U got a 3-goal lead. For me, I think they're through to the final. We have beaten them 3 times this year. But we all know when it comes to Man United, on a day, even how shit they've been all season, and pretty much been shit for the past 3 years, even though they've still won 2 trophies, they can turn it on a day. It's like it's almost in their DNA. Man United know how to win on the day. Pardon me. When it actually matters, they seem to do. And that is one thing you cannot say Spurs know how to do. When it comes to a semi-final or a final, we have proved it time and time again that we just don't turn up. We don't know what to do. It's like it's not in our DNA. Whereas Man U, it's almost in their blood. But if it does go to a final and we got Man U, do I think we can beat them? Yes, I do. We've beaten 3 times this year. I do believe we can do it. I think it'll be in their favour. They'll be the higher favourites for it. But I think we are more than capable of beating Man U in a final. Should be. But then we have that one big problem that I'm going to come to in a minute. Rob, who are these returning players for Bodo, Maradona, Pele and Ronaldo? I know they've got Berg coming back and I can get the list up there, but they had 4 players missing through suspension and injury that will come back. And Wembley saying, if Bodo scores early, we will collapse like a pack of cards. That is practically it. That is basically how I see it as well, mate. That is literally how I see it as well. And Angus saying that are fans confident they're beating you Thursday night? Yeah, they are very confident because they're a confident team at home because they know they're a total different team at home. And they've actually beat some very good teams at home. Teams better than us, possibly. They're no mugs. And this is another problem that I think a few Spurs fans have got. I was already hearing about people talking about a final when we hadn't even played them in the first game. And people was already talking about a final. People was already talking that we're going to be playing Man U or Bilbao. I think people seem to forget we are Spurs and only Spurs at the minute. You don't underestimate. That is one thing you just do not do. Whether you're standing outside a pub having an issue with someone or whether you're playing football, boxing, UFC, anything, even if you're down to playing cards, you do not underestimate something because that is when you get truly done. And Ghosted, he said Angus will react by going missing from all the Tottenham streams for a week until it cools down. Yeah, and the thing is, mate, he can go missing for as long as he wants and then he will turn up and he will still get slammed for it. And Rich say, afternoon, everyone. Can we not talk about agents and transfers, please? Well, I've got no one on here to talk about it, so I'm not gonna. It's just a difference of opinion and debate with me and Sava. It's one we've had many a time. It's all fun and games, mate. And Angus say, I won't. I'll still be here and hold my hands up and congratulate you. If you do, mate, then fair play to you. Then I'll give you fair play. Then solid fella. If you do, fair play. And then Stixie, 3-5-2 formation, Dan. Yeah. Whatever way you want to look on it. 5-2-2-1, 3-4-2-1, 3-4-1-2, 3-5-2. Whatever you want to look at it. That is the formation we need at Spurs. The only reason I would call it 5 at the back is because I wouldn't necessarily have them as wingers. I'd have them as wing backs, so that would be cast as 5 at the back. But basically, what you are saying is what I would go for. This team would just be so much better in a different formation. And it is showed time and time and time again that this formation, this style and that just does not match these players. But I agree with you. I think if we go into it like that and go on a counter-attacking game, I think we can I won't say easily, but I think we can go through this game. Daniel saying, Angus, I did not say about away goals. I said you concede early, you're worrying too much about us conceding. You conceding early then makes mission even more impossible. PSG already scored early. PSG should have had you 5-1, mate. 5-1 they should have had you. You had a lucky game there as far as I'm concerned. So we go to some of the players we're missing. And just checking through things, basically, is saying that Solanke could be back for the game. Is it a 50-50? I don't know. I don't know how much depth goes into the stories. But they're saying Solanke could be back for the game. No, I don't rate him either way, but we could obviously do better with him than without him, most probably. I mean, starting in front of goal as usual, I think we've got the full team there, basically, with Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, and Udogie. Why wouldn't he play Spence there instead of Udogie or Porro? I mean, if anything in that game, I would take Udogie off and I would put Spence on just to give me that bit more strength at the back. Because Porro, I think, is more useful on the pitch than Udogie overall. Porro can put that long ball in there. He can cross the ball. He can pass the ball good enough. He can run with the ball. He's definitely that bit of playmaking we could almost have from the back, in my opinion. And without our main man there, Maddison, this is where the shit hits the fan, in my opinion, in a big, big way. Not just for this game, but then for the final as well, if we make it to the final. Where are we going to get any sort of creativity without Maddison? About the only one we can put there with a slight chance. I know people are saying Mikey Moore, but do we just go and drop him into a semi-final? Really? I know some people would. I can't say I would. Maybe bring him on with 20 minutes to go if it's not going our way. Then I could totally understand that. Take your chance. Do what you got to do. But I think there's only one player that really goes there, and that's Kulusevski. And we all know he's not a playmaker. Nowhere near on the we haven't even got anyone with the creativity of Maddison. Nobody close. Nobody who can read a game like he can. Yeah, on the pitch, if I'm going to be honest, Maddison gets on my nerves sometimes. I think he's a little bitch. The way he goes about and starts moaning, stamping around and everything, as soon as it's not getting his way, he can be a bit frustrating. For me personally, I do think he is a little bitch. But he is a very good player. And I think he's also got a lot of stick this season. Yeah, in games he hasn't performed. There has been certain games where he just has not performed, just like the rest of the team. But I think the biggest problem with Maddison, putting him as the number 10 playmaker, is the fact that we've said it time and time again. How is he meant to do his job there and be the creative player when he's got two wing backs coming up the side of him, two centre mids coming up the side of him, two inverted forwards going in, or two inverted wingers, whatever people want to call it, and he's also got his striker sitting outside the box? What option has he really had then? What option do you really have when you've got like 5 players 6 foot away from you, 10 foot away from you? How can you playmate from there? How can you create? And when we've seen Maddison play better again, is again when we haven't used inverted wing backs. And when we've actually played and give him space there. Give him space to actually do his job. Be a playmaker. Get a bit of creativity into you. We all know he's capable of doing it, more than capable of doing it. So this is where, for me, this is where this game gets hard. And the next one. Because by the look of it, he's out for the season and a little bit longer. I've read that he's out for a month. I've read that he's out for 4 months. You just don't know what one is true. I mean, if it's an ACL injury on his knee, then he's definitely out for at least 2-3 months, depending how bad it is on there. But without him, I just don't see where we get the creativity from. So I think the only place we can, or 2 places maybe, we can get a bit of creativity from is Porro at the back, putting in some long balls forward. Not the most creative way I know, but probably the only one who can do it. And then maybe bring the creativity a bit deeper. And I think about the only slightly creative player we've got that we can put in midfield and sort of use him as a deep line playmaker as such is Bentancur. And again, that's just my opinion. Apart from that, I don't really see many other players. I mean, Sarr ain't going to do it. Basuma ain't going to do it. Archie Gray in midfield ain't going to do it. Not that he'll even get in the team. But my point is, with the midfield we've got, I think Bentancur is about the only other player with that slight bit of creativity to him. And I do mean slight. So maybe we got to start it from the midfield. And if we're playing Kulusevski as the 10, he should not be played as a playmaker there. For me, we should use Kulusevski there of more what they do with Sweden and what they did with Juventus with him in the last 6 months. And that's use him as more of a shadow striker for me. You know, like Dele Alli used to play. Get the ball in front of him and he can charge forward with a ball. And if we try and use him as the playmaker, then it's not going to work. Without Maddison, where the hell do we go? And that is the problem. We have absolutely no creativity in this club whatsoever, bar one or two players with a little bit of it. And without Maddison, I think we are in serious trouble. And Dodo was saying here, I think 5-3-2 would work against Bodo, pack out the central areas a bit and vulnerable to pace behind. Exactly. That's more the way I would go. 5-3-2. Or even a 5-4-1. One way or another, we need to box that up and we need to take control of that game. Even if it is us sitting back and them coming at us, but they can't get through us, that is still to an extent having a bit of control on the game because you're working to your plan. And I totally agree with you. That's the sort of formation I would use, a 5-3-2. And just keep it as a counter-attack and play sensible. But again, we are Spurs. We have a manager like Ange Postecoglou. And Jazz, you're in the luck. Rich, I only want to talk about instigated owners. And Daniel saying that Angus, it took PSG 4 minutes in London. It took PSG 4 minutes in London to score. They're having their debate about that. And Stixie saying Conte formation 3-5-2. Yep, I can go with that either. 5-3-2, 3-5-2, whatever way you want to put it. To an extent, you can say it's almost the same sort of formation. Again, that's what we got to do. If we don't do it on a counter-attack, I think we're in big trouble. And Angus still having his debate there. SDFC Benny, whenever Kulu plays, he needs to carry that offensive, even though he's in a slump. He hasn't looked good since he's come back, Kulu, has he? Not at all. I mean, when he's come on, rusty is an understatement. And to me, on the pitch with Kulu, I think it's like he's almost still burnt out. I mean, I've heard a few people say, do you think he actually burnt himself out completely at the start of the season? I don't know, but that's what a few people seem to think, that he actually burnt himself out at the start of the season where he tried so hard. Yep, he's had his injury since he's come back from there. He has not played good when he has come on. We just need to hope that in that aspect, he can pull something off. We've got to really hope he can, because he's about the only person that's going to go there as a number 10 that I see us putting there as a number 10. I just don't see us starting with Mikey Moore there, even though a lot of people are saying we should. Again, like I said earlier, I think if the shit hits the fan, then we bring on someone like Mikey Moore with 20 minutes to go. We don't start him, not in my opinion. And when these Spurs are on the way to Bilbao, Tottenham's going to do it again. They can't stop them. The boys from the Tottenham, the boys from White Hart Lane. Well, let's just hope you're right, fella. Let's just hope you are. People, Angus and I still having a good debate. And Archie say, as Roy Keane, my favourite all-time player. Oh, he's a good shot stopper. That's his job. I get back on the Vicario, I take it then. I agree. A very good shot stopper at that. But as an overall keeper, yeah, there's a lot to be desired there, in my opinion. And they were saying they are good from set pieces I've seen in other games. I haven't. If anyone is half decent at a set piece, that is where Spurs are in trouble. We don't like corners. We don't like set pieces. And like I said earlier, we do not have people in that defence that can control it and take a header from the ball. Anyway, Mike, how we doing, mate?
Big up, mate.
Big up to you too. This game with Bodo, without Maddison, I mean, there's other players missing, Bergvall and that. I can't say I'm too bothered about Bergvall. He's been very good this year. He's been good this year, but he's not irreplaceable. Without Maddison, do you think we're up shit street?
I mean, I'm kind of like on and off with the whole Maddison thing, right? Because I think because we are 2-0 up on aggregate, right? Like 2 goals up, sorry. I think we can like warrant a bit of a defensive approach, which like doesn't need Maddison. Because like I get the worry with Maddison, right? He looks to be the only creative player we have in the team, right? When we play with him, it just gels together much more, right?
Yes.
But if you play a midfield of like, because what's going to be our midfield? Probably like Bissouma, Bentancur, Kulusevski, right? I think
that's what I would expect. That's what I would expect.
These are like 3 workhorses, and 2 of them can be disruptive in the midfield, right? Bentancur and Bissouma, I think they can disrupt their midfield. So in essence, I actually think that's not as bad as it looks, because we have the 2-goal advantage, right? If we were going there with even terms, then we would be fucked, right? Even ignoring the fact that we wouldn't have an advantage, right? But you get the point, right? I think we can play a defensive game and just slamp the ball up the pitch and hope that Solanke, Tel, or somebody else runs onto it. Kind of like bypassing the creative part of the midfield, if you get what I say, right?
Yeah, basically playing a counter-attacking style of football and use Porro at the back to put a long ball forward and then hope we can make something from it.
Or Romero, right? Or even Van de Ven if he fancies it, right? Like I think we have like 2 or 3 players in the backline that can actually like spray a long ball, which kind of, as I say, like it bypasses the need for a creative midfielder, right? Because as I was listening to you, what you said earlier, right? And as you said, Kulusevski, he's not a creative midfielder, right?
No.
He's not a guy to pick up the ball and just spray the passes around and do all that stuff. I think he's really good at carrying the ball, and I think he's quite good at dribbling with the ball, right? Dribbling not like doing shimmies and being
getting forward with the ball.
Yeah, just knocking it past someone, barging with a shoulder or whatever, right? Like this sort of thing, right? But definitely, like I think we have to bypass the creative midfielder. We just have to lamp it up forward, like hope Solanke or someone can trap the ball, and then those midfielders can run onto the ball, right? And then I think this is how I would try to set up. So again, like of course, obviously, I would want Maddison to be part of the team, but I don't think it's as bad as some people make it out to be.
I think it's going to be. I mean, I don't think it's good at all, but I totally get where you're coming from. And if either of the games, if we get through this, I think it's going to be more of a problem. Pardon me. I think it's going to be more of a problem in the final against Man U or Bilbao, but it looks like Man U. I think it's going to be more of a problem in the final than it is in this game. Because I'm totally with you. I think we've got to do this game on a sensible counter-attacking approach. And about the only, like I've said to everyone near already, about the only one who's got any creativity in him, to an extent you can say Porro with a long ball we can put in there. I think the only midfielder we've got who's got any slight creativity in him is actually Bentancur.
Yeah.
Obviously not on the same levels or whatever. So maybe we just have to, if we want to try and create something, start a bit deeper. Is that what you're basically saying?
Yeah. As I said, just look for the strong sides of the team, right? This is something that I've been saying plenty of times, right? If you have backliners that can do a long ball, right, and an accurate and a well-placed long ball, then you don't really need to go through the midfield to create anything, right? Or also, to be honest, like when we often, even with Maddison on the pitch, we create like on the sides instead of through the middle. So that's why I like, as I said, obviously we are a worse team without Maddison, right? And in the final, it will be a nightmare playing without him, right? I'm talking purely about the semi against Bodo in 2 days, right?
Yeah.
Purely
I think you're
that
100%
game.
right.
Yeah.
I think you're 100% right on what you're saying. I mean, Maddison, he's going to be a big miss for any game we play. He'll be a big miss for this game. But it's definitely the final that he's going to be the bigger miss.
Yeah. If we get there.
Yeah, if we get there. I mean, because in that aspect, I mean, technically, we don't even have to score in this game, and we can concede a goal as well.
Yeah.
We do have a little bit of backup in that aspect, don't we? But then we all know what Spurs are like. We go and basically fuck this up in the first 5 minutes and concede a goal. Then we're up shit street in a big way. I personally think.
Yeah.
Dietrich, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. Good.
And Has, good to see you on here, mate. I haven't seen you on here before. How are we doing?
Very random. Very random, isn't it?
Yeah,
I didn't expect to see you Has today, honestly. Like.
I've just decided to hop on randomly. Do you know what? I just had my dinner and I was watching you guys and I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to hop on. I haven't got too long, probably about half an hour, but yeah, we can chop it up a bit, boys.
Right. How's your calf doing anyway, mate?
Really good. Really busy, bro. Really busy. So
yeah.
hence why I don't really get time to go on too many like pods or anything like that. But slowly but surely I'll start filtering back in. So we'll see.
And if you can tell everyone where it is quickly, because I can vouch for the calf. Like literally 5 minutes around the corner from my osteopath, so I do go there, and it is a fucking good calf. So go on, if you can vouch where it is, tell people where it is.
Yeah, it's a decent calf. Avery Hill, Eltham, anyone who's southeast or south side of the river, pop over. Let me know if you know me or not. If you know me, I'll grab you a drink or whatever. You know, just pop by and come and see for yourselves. But yeah, it's decent. That's nice of you. Thank you.
No, it's fine. One thing I can vouch for 100%, and if my wife wasn't asleep in bed being ill, you know, with woman flu, like they say, man flu, woman flu, I think it works both ways. Just checking my door there. Even though she's probably watching on the telly, I'm probably going to end up with a black eye. Good job I wear glasses. and with that one, she literally drags me up there when we go up there as well, because she absolutely loves the cat. So, all right. Dietrich, let me ask you, mate, where are we going to go with this game? What have we got to do?
Oh, by the way, is my mic okay, or is it good?
A little bit louder.
Now?
Still a bit quiet.
Now is it better?
Now it's
significantly better.
Yeah, significantly.
Okay.
So, yeah, Dietrich, where do we go with this game? Are we going to miss Maddison that badly?
That's a good question. We're gonna miss him, yes. But me, it's a bit of a selfish thing. I just can't stand the prick. The way he cries on the pitch, the way he's always like arguing, like he just pisses me off. But if we're talking about ability, and is he our best number 10? 100% he is. But like I said, this is Ange's job. He always runs play to the ground.
He does. So what style do you think we got to do then? How we got to do this?
This is the game where we need Mourinho and Conte. Sit back, counter. Because we have nothing to lose. And if they play this way, Johnson is going to thrive and Odegaard is going to thrive. Because they'll have the whole space and the whole time to cross or shoot the ball. Don't go at them. Don't play inverted fullbacks. Don't do a halfway. Don't put the defense in the halfway line. Just counter every time. Sit deep, soak up pressure, send it long. It only takes 3 passes to score. This is what we need to do. 3 passes maximum.
I think that's a fair point. So with Maddison being missing and other injuries we've got on that, how do you think we deal with this game? You basically agree with everyone else that we've got to do it on a counter. How would you deal with it? How do you think Spurs are going to deal with it? What do you think is actually going to happen?
First of all, I think that goal that they conceded last week, hopefully that's not going to play on their minds first of all, because let's not forget Bodo's done this before where they've just hung in there against other teams and then just turned them over in the second leg. So they'll feel quite positive or confident of getting a result at home. The thing is, the onus is on them to score. We're ahead by 2 goals, so the onus is on them to score. I think sitting back, I mean, look, we can do it. We've got our central defensive partnership in place, but I just think 1 goal could possibly kill the tie. I think if we get that 1 goal, 3 goals,
I agree.
and I think if you end up sitting too deep, crosses, we're poor. We just don't cope too well with heavy pressure. I think we just need to go and play our game and attack, and I think they'll give us space to explore in their half. I think, and we just got to go out to get that first goal, if possible, early doors in the first half, and just kill the tie, and then you can look at sort of, we could go free at the back if need be in the second half, bring on an extra defender, sit in.
But will Ange do that?
Exactly. But look, when there's such high stakes, this is to get to the final of the Europa League. You've got to do what it takes at the end of the day. So for me, I think it could work both ways. If you decide to sit in, if you decide to sit back and invite pressure, counter attack, let's imagine they get 1 goal back, right? 3-2. You know what Spurs are like? Jitters time. Jitters. Everyone's going to be like, that's it. Like, they're going to throw it away from you. Don't forget, also, we're playing on a 3G pitch. Okay, they're used to playing on that pitch. We're not. Common sense dictates that the team will have trained on an artificial pitch in the run-up to this game, I'm hoping. But I don't put anything past Ange, Maybe he hasn't, prepared that well for it. I don't know. But I just think it could work both ways. And if you're going to have that attacking intent, have that attacking intent from the start of the game, because they're going to have to leave spaces open.
They've got to come at us, haven't they?
They've got to come at us.
2 goals.
The thing is, they've got to score early to sort of have any chance of salvaging anything from the game, right?
Yep.
And if we score early, well, they've got to get 3 goals back. They've got to get 3 goals back.
Well, to win the game, they've got to score 3 goals no matter what, basically.
Exactly. So I just think, Maddison being out, obviously we haven't got that creative spark in the midfield. We know that. But Kulusevski will come in. Maybe he'll play in that 10 role instead. Who knows? But, I don't know, guys. Who do you think we've got that can sort of, sit in and keep it tight at the back in that midfield? Like Pape Sarr, I don't really trust him, especially in in a big occasion like this. He's flattered to deceive in the poorest of games that we've had, let alone a Europa League semi-final. So if we're pinning our hopes on him, I don't know. The only one that I would trust in that midfield is Bentancur. He's got the experience. He's the only one I think that has, a decent touch in that midfield that can sort of fight for the ball and everything else. But I don't know. I don't think sitting in for 90 minutes, I don't think that, we'll keep him out. It is my opinion.
Yeah. No,
I do think that we'll score, though. I do think we'll get a goal.
Yeah, this is something that, like, I look at the game in a way. I can see us conceding 2 goals, right? But I also can see us scoring 1. If you get I don't think they will keep us out for 90 minutes. Even if we shithouse it, right, with a corner or something, because the corners recently in the Europa League, especially, have actually been quite good when we did them. Not necessarily against Bodo in the first half, but against Frankfurt in both games. I think we were dangerous from corners, right? So I think we can score 1 goal. We can concede 2. I honestly think we'll lose 2-1 or something like that. But I just look at the game and like as you boys said, they either have to score 2 goals and win on penalties or score 3 goals, right? And every goal that we score is another one for them, right? So like just scoring 1 means they have to score 3 to equalize or 4 to go through. Do I see us conceding 4? Yes, we've conceded 4 under Ange, right? But to better teams than Bodo with utmost respect, right? So we are still, for me, we are still the favorites in this tie. That's the way I look at it, right?
Well, the scoreline dictates that. The scoreline dictates that we're the favourites.
Yeah.
Okay, because if it was a draw, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, no.
It'll be a 50-50 game. It'll be a 50-50 game. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like we need to go out and take control of the game from the beginning because they're very comfortable in their ground. They know what they can do. I just feel like, personally speaking, I think we'll lose but go through.
Yeah.
I think it will be like a 2-1 or a 3-2 loss, 3-2, 2-1, something like that, where they'll run us close and we'll leave it, teetering on the edge before we actually make it through. So, look, I don't know, guys. We still need to get to the final, and even when we get to the final, if we get to the final, we've got either Bilbao or United. And that game, I don't think that game's over either because United just blow hot and cold. Bilbao's not an easy task away. We'll have to see. But either one, I mean, I would rather take United over Bilbao. I think the fact that United beat them 3-0 is at this stage an anomaly because that's not the Bilbao that I know. So
that's not how they've been playing, is it? I mean,
no, and also you've got to factor the fact that Bilbao having the home advantage. They didn't
know how to turn up on a day. They do. It's in their DNA almost.
It's in their DNA, exactly. But having Bilbao having home advantage in a final is a massive thing as well. Our lot, you can imagine them like a deck of cards, just folding over in the final.
I've seen different, like, stranger things happen, like Munich getting done by Chelsea in the final at their own place as well.
You're talking about two massive clubs, though. You're talking about absolute powerhouses of a club like Chelsea, Bayern Munich. I get that, but the way we've played this season, the way we've been, doesn't sort of suggest that. If you've got two massive teams, Barcelona, Real Madrid, one of them's got home advantage, they're still going to be strong regardless. Those two are just absolute different beasts,
I get what you're saying. I get where you're coming from.
I think United, like you said, United, despite how bad they've been throughout the whole of the season, they've been just as bad as us. They've got it in their DNA to win finals. It's what the club is all about for the last 30 years or so.
We haven't the past 2 years, haven't they?
Exactly. We haven't had that. They won it under Eric Ten Hag. And even that wasn't enough. Was it Ten Hag or was it Mourinho? Sorry.
Mourinho they won the Europa with, and Ten Hag won them the other two in the past.
The other two, that's right, yeah. So look, I don't know. It's not going to be easy. I expect us to go through, but it's not going to be easy. I think we'll lose and we'll go through.
Yeah, you know what pisses me off with United, right? And not many people talk about it, right? Because one thing, it's heritage and all that stuff, right? But it's also when the opposition clubs, just to put it bluntly, shit themselves when they see the match. Because like all three clubs that they played against, Lyon, Sociedad, and Bilbao, all three got a red card in one of the matches, right? Like the Sociedad got a red card at Old Trafford, got slapped 4-1, right?
Yeah.
Bilbao got a red card, got slapped 3-0. And Lyon lost 5-4 with 10 men, right? And the maddest game ever, right? But it's like, it's not only about them, but it's also about how the other clubs and the other teams react to Man United, right? Because for some bloody reason, there is still so much respect given to that match, even though United haven't been the greatest team in the world, right? And I just fear if we play against them in the final, I just fear that our players will get to their heads, right? That they are playing against United. Not only that it's a Europa League final, but it's against United, right? Because like all this, the heritage stuff and the history and all that stuff, I just think it gets to players' heads. And it shouldn't, in my opinion, because for me, we are a better team than United at this point, right? We have better players, in my opinion, not by a country mile, right? I know they are ahead of us in the league by a point or something, right? But for me, I think we've beaten them 3 times this season, which also this kind of pisses me off, right? Because we beat them 3 times this season, it's almost as if it won't happen the 4th time, right? It's like, you know, the irony of the irony of life is the fact that if we've done this 3 times already, the 4th time will be that much harder instead of actually being easier because we've done it 3 times already. Like, I don't
we
know.
have
It's
done them 3
something
times
stupid.
already.
Yeah.
I think we're more than capable of doing them in a final.
that-
It's just they do have the DNA to turn up when the shit hits the fan in that aspect. I mean, with what you said, as I can go with that. I just think we need to play more of a counter-attacking. I don't mean sit deep, but just sit that little bit deeper. You know, I don't think they've got to come at us with everything they've got, because they have to score at least 2 goals. And when a team's doing that, that is where you can get your chance of one silly pass and a good counter-attack, in my opinion. And I think we have looked much better as a straightforward, direct forward counter-attacking team than an attacking team. I can also see the point of going for a kill as well, but I just think we got to sit that little bit deeper with a counter-attack, because they're going to be desperate to score a goal in the first 10 minutes to proper get it rocking, I reckon.
When was the last time we kept a clean sheet?
Well, it was only a couple of games ago, wasn't it? But we hardly ever keep them. Like I said earlier, we hardly ever get a clean sheet.
So
right?
if you count how many clean sheets we've had, the law of averages says that we'll probably concede on Thursday, right?
Yeah. Without
in a big game like this, with a team that play pretty decent football, let's be honest. Boldo turned over some great teams, not just this year in the Europa League, but also previous seasons as well.
Roma.
Absolutely massive teams. They've got the pedigree and experience and the know-how of how to beat big teams, big European teams. So, look,
they know how to do it at home, don't they? At home,
exactly. And that goal gives them, I mean, so much hope. So much hope. Had it been 3-0, I think it would have been an uphill task. But that goal just gives them that glimmer of hope now. You can see, like, with the fans as well, the way they were talking about their team, you know, we're confident, we can turn them over, etc., etc. I think they'll leave a lot of gaps at the back. And the way we play with our wing-backs pushed up so high, I just think this will be the perfect opportunity, however he's going to approach it, for those wing-backs to exploit that space. So this is what I mean. I don't want us to be completely penned in. You know,
no,
we're just going to defend 90 minutes, you know.
No, if we don't do that, I think we're in trouble. I don't think we have the capability to do that for 90 minutes, basically. I just want us to sit that little bit deeper and play it
like against Frankfurt, basically, right? We didn't low block it against Frankfurt. We were proactive in essence, right? We were counter pushing. We were, you know, attacking them from time to time. It's like we have to show a bit of fight, right? Because if you just go out there and bend over and you know, hope they miss, right? It's not going to be great for us, because this team doesn't have the composure, or I don't know, like what I would do is basically play like a little bit deeper, as you said, right? But if it's going well, minute 60 or something, and let's say it's 0-0 or something like that, right? Or let's call it a 0-0.
They're going to be even more desperate the longer the time goes on.
Yeah, then I would put Dance on the pitch, right? Make it a back 3, and just put the fastest players you have up front, and just because they have to come at you at that point, right?
Then shut up shop and do a long ball, basically.
Shut up shop and do a long ball, right? And just try to catch them on the counter, right? All we have to do is score 1 goal, in my opinion, and the tie is pretty much over, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I look at it.
I mean, Jay, just quick answer to you quickly. What's my prediction for Inter Barca? I think Inter are going to do that 2-1 tonight, because I think Inter are going to be. I think Inter 2-1 tonight. That's what I want.
Do you know what? I'm going to go complete opposite. I think you're going to see a Yamal masterclass tonight.
He's just fucking good, isn't he?
I'm telling you, you'll see that. And the reason I say that, right? That first game was all Yamal. You know, it could have been over for Barcelona, but that will give him confidence to know that he can hurt Inter tonight. And I think he's such a big game player. I mean, he's very consistent for his age. I've never seen someone his age, apart from maybe Messi and maybe a couple of others, that are so consistent week in, week out.
My friend says this to me that, I mean, this is not me saying this. I'm only stating what a friend has said to me, that he actually thinks Yamal is better than Messi at this stage of his career, if you get what I'm saying, than Messi was when he was 16. That's just what a friend says to me.
Let's wait a bit before we pass
exactly.
judgment, I think. Yeah,
exactly. No, I agree. I'm only saying what a friend said to me.
But then I appreciate there is going to be comparisons. You know, both have similar styles of play. Both play Barcelona. You know, there's always going to be that comparison. But I think Yamal, he's a special talent, and I think he's going to be like another Messi. But you know, let's give the kid a chance to sort of breathe.
Exactly. Only time will tell. Yeah. I mean, and just with you, quick, Dave, like, listen, if I kicked you as many times as Madison got kicked, you would more than cry. So you're talking bullshit, mate. Obviously, you've never watched me play football. Yeah, someone kicks me like that, I smile like, okay, and I take their legs off back. I don't sit down and cry. And I can get a few people on here who can vouch for me, who have seen me play football. Yeah, kick me all you want. I will kick you twice as hard back. I will make sure you got no shins left. I will not walk around the pitch and cry like a little bitch like Madison does at times. That is where he pisses me off. But I'm not saying he's a bad player.
Yeah, I quickly wanted to give my 2 cents on the Inter-Barca game, right? I also think a big thing for today will be the fact that Lewandowski is back, right? Because last game where Barca played against Inter, right? It was, as you guys said, it was mostly Yamal doing magic thing on the wing, right? But the center backs, like, even though he had a mad game, like scored a goal and assisted 2 or whatever it was, right? Like, center backs were able to aid the left back against Yamal, right? Whereas now I think with Lewandowski as center point in the box, I think one of them or 2 of them have to take care of him, right? And I just think it gives more time and space for Yamal to do his magic. So, but it's really weird because with that being said, I still kind of favor Inter because of how defensively well set up they are and the fact that it's at San Siro, right? But I think Lewandowski will add another dimension to the game, right? He didn't play last game. This will be a different task to handle both.
Dangerous player.
Yeah.
Very dangerous player. And for me, I think he gets underrated a lot. I don't think he gets spoke about of being as good a player as he actually is. I mean, very, very good striker and would cause trouble for anybody. So, hey, something I want to ask you, as soon as we haven't spoke about this and haven't really heard your opinion on this one, yeah? Is any of the games of this season, are you actually bothered about any of them winning or losing them? Or are you just all Europa Cup? Or do you think we got to win everything and go for everything?
I think the players need to show some sort of pride after the season we've had as well. You know, I know we've all, you know, barked at Ange, how bad he's been and everything else, but maybe the players still need to step up and show that they're still interested in playing for the club, the badge and everything else, because at the heart of it all, these players are getting paid a lot of money. There's still going to be fans at that stadium. There's still going to be fans paying a pretty penny to go and turn up to watch those games. So I think every single game, whether there's anything to play for or not to play for, should be played with the same passion week in, week out. You know, if I'm paying, you know, a certain amount of money week in, week out to watch these players, they should be showing the same energy and passion on the pitch. And that's the way I look at it. I know most people say, yeah, it's a rubber match. No one's bothered about it, this, that and the other. But, you know, they've got a duty. These players have a duty to perform week in, week out. If I don't turn up at work, regardless of whatever day it is, and I don't do my job properly, questions are asked. So why is it any different for footballers, regardless of what's riding on it or not? You know, they get paid a lot of money, these players. And we, the fans, the people who follow these teams, pay a lot of money to watch them week in, week out. So that's my take on it. And also, I just wanted to say, in respect of the West Ham match, god-awful game. But why aren't those players going out there and showing the manager why they should be starting next week or this week? in that Europa League game. You know, I would be busting a gut. You know what? I'm going to show my manager just what I can do. I'm going to, you know, go out and give my best to show him that I should be in that team on Thursday night. Nothing though. It's like we'll just turn up. You know, the gaffer's put us out today because he's saving the first team, or you know, he wants to save his first team players for Thursday. Well, no, I would want to go out and put on my best performance.
I get where you're coming from there, yeah. And Matty K, thanks a lot for the super sticker, mate. Much appreciated. You don't have to do that, but well appreciated, mate. You see, I think the problem there is, I'm 100% with you, yeah. You should be giving it 100% every game. You're getting paid 100 grand, 50 grand, 200 grand, whatever they are a week, yeah. But I think one thing we got to take in here is at the end of the day, they still are only human, yeah. Now, I can only vouch for myself on this one. I don't know how everybody else's brain works. But if my head and heart ain't with it 100%, I can't go and give it 100%, 110%, even if I put all the effort in the world into it. But I can only vouch for myself for that one. And I do think there is players on that pitch, not just in football as a whole, that when you really have nothing to play for in that league, what are you actually looking for? And then when you're looking at the important game 4 days later, are you really going to go out and give it your all and get stuck into tackles and risk an injury and this and that? Now, with the second team side, I think the problem here is the fact Spence, I think, is your perfect example here, yeah? In the aspect of he comes on and he's our best player for 2 months, nearly 3 months. I mean, he seems to have disappeared a bit now. And then the second Udogi's fit, he gets dropped.
Mm-hmm.
I think a few players know that Ange knows his first 11, who he wants usually as his first 11. And no matter what they go and do, they ain't getting into that first 11 in an important game. I think that's part of the problem as well with some of the, if you want to call it, second team players we play. I mean, do you reckon that goes for it as well?
I mean, that comes down to management, right? At the end of the day, because every player should be important to the manager in some way or another, right? You should, as a manager, you should have every player on side. Right, you're doing well this week. I want you to train as hard as you can. I want you to put 100% effort in because I want you to try and get into this team and I want you to try and compete against whoever it is. So you want, essentially what you want is you want every player to be competing in every position. But if you have your starting 11 and the rest of them know, well, I'm not going to get in the team because this is the starting 11, what's the point? You're never going to win a league that way. Look at all the teams that have won like the leagues down the years. You know, you got almost players that are like for like, you know, that'll come in. Players competing in every position. You've got wingers.
You're right.
Competing to start on either side. You've got strikers competing to get in the team. You know, it's not, yes, you're always going to have your standouts. You know, previous seasons we had Harry Kane, etc., etc. But everywhere else, you need that competition. You know, you can't just have your favourite 11 and that's it. And everyone else.
I totally agree. I 100% agree. The way I've always said it is you look at someone like City, you look at someone like Liverpool, you look at a big team like Inter, Barcelona, PSG, whatever else. Even their main left winger, let's just say left winger, just example, yeah? He fucks up 2 crosses. He knows he's already looking over his shoulder because he's getting replaced for the next 2 games. Spurs players don't have that problem. Not when the first 11 is the first 11 and that's all there is to it. And like a majority of them can go out and have an absolute dog shit of a game and they're still getting picked for the next game.
And you said it with Spence, you know,
yeah.
As soon as Udogi's back, boom, he's out of the team. So what incentive has that player now got? And this is it's a knock-on effect. So
that's what I'm saying. Like in the last game.
I agree with you. And it's wrong. In my opinion, you know, every player should be competing. There shouldn't be any players out there that are comfortable, like week in, week out, unless you're an absolute talisman like Harry Kane or Son, who was like, you know, previous seasons and everything else. You know, you look at any other team, like Real Madrid, for instance. Like, I'll give you an example. Brahim Diaz was in the team for weeks and weeks. Couple of bad performances. He's out. Arda Güler is come in. He's banging in goals every week now. Match winners, everything else. It's like, mate, if you're not cutting it, the next person waiting is going to be there and he's just as good as you. You know? There shouldn't
And we don't
be
have that.
like favourites or anything. We've not had that for a while, mate. We've not had that for a while. I can't even remember the last. I mean, Poch. Maybe under the Poch era, we had a decent squad with players that can come in and out. But even then, he wasn't backed. You know, his back was against the wall a little bit with the players that he had. You know, but you absolutely need a squad, and most of these players right now are Ange's players. So we can't even say he inherited most of these players, and it's not really his squad.
No, he's
You
built.
can't
He's
use
had his
that.
own squad built for him, basically, and that is the annoying thing. He has been supported. I mean, Mike, if we do go through this and we do win this Europa, do we hang on to Ange? Or do you think there's a lot of Spurs supporters out there who are just have got too many morals and are too accepting?
Personally, I would. You know my stance, right? I would get rid of him as soon as possible, right? I think he's just proven to me that he's not fit for the job, and as we've said plenty of times, thank you for the memories of the Europa League. Thank you for bringing us the trophy. Now go out there into explosions behind your back, all that stuff, right? That's how I look at it. And this will not change. I will not change my mind on this one particularly, right? That too many times I've been stung by this manager's choices. And I just lost faith in him, completely lost faith in him, right? And the tournament competition is not going to change my mind on this one, right? That's just the way I approach it. I know it might seem unfair to some, but that's just the way I look at things.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I don't give a shit about all that sort of stuff, morals and everything else. You've won the cup. You've been absolutely shit. Thank you very much. There's your 6 million. Have another million bonus and baked potato, basically. I mean, how do you look on that one? Do you think there's going to be a lot of Spurs fans out there that are going to be looking at it? I know there's going to be all the Ange lovers will come in force all of a sudden and that on how great he is and everything. But with the way he has been, if he wins this cup, do we hang on to him for another season and give him that chance? Does he deserve that chance, or do we get rid of him?
Look, one day Ramos come in and won a cup. Did it make a difference? No. Just because a manager comes in and wins a cup doesn't mean he's a great manager. You know, look at the route that we took to this semi-final already. We did not turn up against a lot of the big teams, mate. You know, Galatasaray, Rangers, mate. And then, yeah, we've got a few results here and there. We've got a Frankfurt side who didn't really turn up. Like our route to the semi-final wasn't exactly, the hardest route you can imagine, right? And the same could be said of United as well. Look at, Michael touched on it. Look at the last 3 games, the red cards that they had. They've had so much luck in the last 3 games with the red cards and everything else. I just feel like it's destined to be United and Tottenham, who ironically have had, such similar seasons in the league. And that's the irony of it. Both have been absolutely dog, and yet they're going to be in the Europa League final. So for me, it doesn't mean that if Ange wins this cup that he's absolutely got to stay on. He's been totally inconsistent, and I'm not gonna sit down and say, his performances in the Europa League will excuse him of any wrongdoing in the league, because the league is our bread and butter. We're going to end the league with 21 defeats. That in any other team in the league is unacceptable. I'm sorry, but he would have been toast by now with any other club, even the bottom 3 clubs. You look at how many games Southampton lost when they got rid of their manager.
Roma.
Mate, honestly, it's unacceptable. And for me, I said it before I joined the chat, before I joined the show. And right now, he owes every single one of us this UEFA Cup for the season that we've had. This is now the least that he can do to salvage any sort of credibility, or even to say, sorry, I absolutely messed up this season. He owes us this cup big time. And I don't want him at the club after that.
No.
Honestly, like, to go
He's
through
not good
another
enough.
season, he's look, I've been saying it since that Chelsea game, you know, and a lot of people are saying the same thing as well. You know, just gung ho, 9 players down, and this is the way we're going to play, and completely shutting out people when they're questioning his tactics and stuff. It's just, for me, it doesn't sit well, you know. And for everything that he's been through with what we've been through with him and his antics in terms of cupping his ear at the away fans and everything else, I don't see how many chances he can have at this football club. It would have to be a drastic turn of events, you know.
It would be shocking if we kept him, as far as I'm concerned, because no other big club would do that. I mean, Man U made that stupid move and kept Ten Hag and basically done the morally correct thing with him, you could say. And I think that is part of the reason where they are, sort of thing.
Well, look at backfire.
That's what I'm saying.
It backfired.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
we should be looking at that.
Exactly. The man has got to go under all circumstances, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, do you think, like you two, that even if we win this cup, do you think the season's been successful or just still been a total disaster?
Go on, Michael, you go.
I can't call it a disaster when we won. If we won a trophy, sorry, right? Like it cannot be a disaster, right? But I don't know. I wanted to say before I answered your question fully, I wanted to say I think we are at a point with the or sorry, let me put it this way. Sorry for being like unstructured with the opinion, right? Let me put it this way. We have to win this trophy for this season not to be a tragedy and have a lasting consequence on our future, right? Mm-hmm. Because I think if we don't win the Europa League and don't get ourselves into the Champions League, right, we lose a shitloads of revenue, not only from the lack of home games in European competitions, but also the TV revenue and all that stuff, right? The players want to leave, right? There are plenty of other consequences that losing either the semi or a final will have, right, on our season. Yet, if we win the competition, it could be a springboard to, like we always say, it's like getting into Champions League could be a springboard, and it never really is, right? But it will definitely help us improve from where we are right now to get back into at least fighting for top 4, right? So I think we are unfortunately at a point where it's not really about wanting to win the Europa League, it's about having to win the Europa League, right? Because of how shit the league season went, right? And we said it plenty of times, if we are 8th right now, around where Villa are, because I think Villa are 7th on 60 points or something, right? Let's assume we were on 57 points, right? And we still had a chance of getting even into Conference League, right? Through the league. Then it would be we want to win the league. We don't have to win the Europa League, right? Whereas because of how shit this season is, the only way we save it is through winning the Europa League, right? And it's really a shitty situation to be in, because it's you basically balance the next 5 years of the club on 2 games. That's basically the way it looks right now.
I mean, quick question for you, Has. Who would be your choice to replace Ange, considering the restrictions at the club? And this is obviously where we have to go for a realistic manager. I mean, no one's heard your opinion on that one.
Honestly speaking, Jay, I've got no idea who would want to come in. And I mean, I can name you a few managers that I absolutely love and would love to see at Tottenham Hotspur. But you have to look at the dimensions of, you know, where they'll be sort of working in, like the structure that they'll be working in, working on the levy, the financial restrictions, this, that, and the other. Yes, managers will come in and want to play their type of football, but you have to have the correct type of players for them to implement the system and philosophy they want to play, right? Personally speaking, I would go with someone who's young, energy, different ideas. You know, we all saw what Company did with Bayern Munich. You know, he had one season with Burnley. Now he's gone and he's won the league with Bayern Munich. Fantastic. But someone in the like sort of Edin Terzic mold. I'm not saying him, but someone young, dynamic, who's got different ideas. That would be my take on it. But I think any seasoned manager coming in right now would be just for the money. We saw, you know, with Conte coming in, you know, he wasn't backed at all. If you strictly speaking, the players that he wanted, he never got in. You know, example being he wanted Bastoni, didn't get him. He wanted other players, didn't get them. You know, so it's all about who comes in, who can work under the restrictions that, you know, Spurs currently have. So yeah, I don't know what you guys think, but it's a very difficult one. It's almost like a poison chalice at the moment. No one wants.
Well, that's what Spurs is. Full stop.
Yeah,
that is Spurs. Full stop. Poison chalice. I mean, I can go for someone quite easy like Thomas Frank, who I think is a very down to earth manager. I don't think he's a great manager. I think he does very good with what he's got. And the thing I do like about him, and from what I've seen about Iriola, and I quite like, what's his name, the Fulham manager. I like him as well. And also, if we go abroad, Atalanta's manager's good, but would they want to come over to us? And I just think we actually need a very down-to-earth manager at the moment for the next 2 years that can play with the cards he's got. And that's Ange's biggest problem as far as I'm concerned, apart from the inverted fucking wingbacks that piss me right off. I think that is his biggest problem. He does not play with the cards he has got. And I think we need a manager that has just got his basic know-how of football, that you have to defend as well as attack. And that is Ange's biggest problem for me. I mean, Mike, who would you go for?
I think we should go for someone like two profiles of manager. For me, one profile is a guy for whom the going to our club would be a step up, right? Because I agree with the point of I don't think we are at a point where we should go for the likes of Conte or Mourinho, right? Of course, not these two because they were already here, but that type of manager, right? Because
no, we don't need that.
And also it would obviously be only for financial reasons, right? They would obviously they would come here and do a great job, right? But I think we need a manager who would actually do his best to improve us and just do his best and not turn the nose up when something goes wrong, right? So I've always been in love with Glasner. He was my first choice.
Glasner is another one I wouldn't say no to. Yeah, I forgot about him. I'd have him in front of Frank. Yeah.
The reason why I say this is because the second part of the manager I wanted to say is, yes, it would ideally be a step up, but I also want a manager who has a bit of pedigree behind him, not like a Champions League winner, multiple league time, like league winner.
I wouldn't say no to Nagelsmann either. Yeah. Still,
that definitely like Nagelsmann in a heartbeat, right? But Glasner for me is at a perfect point in his career where he is at Crystal Palace, which going to Spurs would be a step up for him and a place where he can prove himself as a really good manager. But also he has pedigree behind him because he won the Europa League and the German DFB Pokal, right?
Yeah.
Which means he can command respect from not only the players but also the fan base and the ownership, right? Because I think there is an issue where you go for the likes of Silva, as soon as something goes wrong, the fan base will turn on them, right? Because the fan base doesn't have the belief that they can achieve something, right? Because yeah, fair enough, they are above us in the league with Fulham and Brentford and other clubs, right? But it's not like they won something in their careers. So for me, I think like the first season would probably be okay in the eyes of fan base, right? But the second season, I think plenty of us would go against the manager if they didn't do well. So I think we kind of need to strike a balance with a Glasner type of manager, and you have plenty other examples of managers that either won something or were really close to winning something, like the Stuttgart manager, like I don't know, some managers from Spain, plenty of Italian managers, right? Fiorentina, Bologna manager, right? Where going to Spurs would be a step up, not only financially, but also in the status of a club. And I'm not really up for a debate to debate whether like Fiorentina is a bigger club than Spurs, right? Let's leave it at the other end. I think Spurs are bigger, but that's one. Or the second profile for me, and it's actually it's only one person. I would really like to see Xavi.
I wouldn't say no either.
Barca Xavi, right? Because I think he's at a point in his career where he wouldn't come here for money, because he doesn't really need money, right? He probably like wealthier than most other managers in the world, right? And he also only had the Qatar, like a job in Qatar and in Barca. So for him, it's also like a place to prove himself, right, in the Premier League, to prove the fact that what happened in Barca with him wasn't a fluke. That I think he would have like the ambition and a place to grow, and also he worked really well with the youngsters that Barca had, right? And I think we have plenty of exciting youngsters that could really benefit from having a coach like him, right? So for me, my two best candidates are Glasner and Xavi, but I wouldn't say no to plenty of other managers, right? And even if we finished with like Silva or Frank and other guys, I wouldn't be against them either, right? I'm just looking at it from the point of like an average Spurs fan, right? If you had Frank or Silva, I think that they wouldn't be backed by the fan base like Glasner or Xavi would be, right?
No, I can go with that. I'll tell you, you've come on. You got something to say, mate? Seems like an Arsenal supporter on here.
How confident are you saying the Thursday night? That percentage wise.
I can't hear you properly. Your mic's proper fuzzy as.
Sorry. How about now? Is that better?
Yeah, a little bit.
How confident are you ahead of Thursday night then?
Well, we've already said I think we can win that Thursday night as long as we play it the right way. And these two have as well. So let me ask you, are you confident against PSG?
No.
No?
No, not a chance.
Why not?
Because one, my manager. Two, my players. The mentality. And three, my captain. Need I say more?
Well, I keep hearing you got world-class players there. I mean, when people talk to me about Saka being world-class and rating him with Yamal as well, sort of. I mean, if one's world-class, if Yamal's world-class, then fucking Saka is not, as far as I'm concerned in that one. But he is a big player for you as well. So you really don't think you're going to make it with PSG?
It depends how we start. Conceding early will kill us again. But we have a better chance now that Thomas Partey is back in midfield. Because I think if Partey was in midfield, then Bell doesn't score that goal, in my opinion. Because Partey is there, stopping that ball, going straight to him.
Okay. From, obviously not many people like to hear it, yeah, but from an Arsenal fan's position, yeah, what do you think Spurs have got to do? What sort of manager should we go for, in your opinion? I mean, I'll give my opinion quickly for you. I think basically what you've got is Poch number 2. Basically, that man who can get you so near yet so far, basically, and just cannot cross that line. Yeah. And plus, I think up front, you just don't have the firepower. You need that striker through and through, and you just haven't gone and done it. What do you think Spurs need to do to get their shit together with a manager? What sort of manager do we need?
A manager? An attacking manager who gets the best out of all your players, basically. Who's not pragmatic, who's always on the front foot, who likes to press well, basically.
But that's the type of manager we've already got. or says we.
I mean,
someone who play
who
attacking football personally, but
someone who's adaptable, who can change tactics mid-game, someone who knows what they're doing, someone who doesn't hold their hands in their pockets 90 minutes, basically. Someone who's not a statue.
Yeah.
So we both want the same thing then.
Yeah, basically, we want the same thing, Has.
Well, Arteta runs up and down the pitch like a little psychopath, or tries so hard to be a Conte when he just you just sort of look at him and you go away, you sort of brush him off your shoulder. Whereas Conte starts in your face, you'd actually look at him like fuck, sort of thing. But yeah, that's got to be hasn't this season got to be as frustrating for you as it is for us in a total different aspect? In the aspect of, as all Arsenal have done is complain about City and they're just too big. And then the time that City fuck it up basically and come down a level or two, Liverpool just step in front of you and take it as well.
This is the most frustrating season I've had under Arteta.
Not the one we
This
would
is the
like
most
12 points clear?
No, this one.
Can I bolt on a
This one.
question to that?
Go for it.
I'll just bolt on a question to Arteta. How would it make you feel, or how would you feel, obviously, if you don't qualify tomorrow for the final, but Spurs go on to win the Europa League?
I'd be happy for some of yous, but inside I'd hate it because I wouldn't hear the end of it.
But would it make it an absolute car crash of a season if that happened? That's what I'm trying to get at. I mean, because you guys obviously had two bites of the cherry. You had until a certain point of the season, you were in the title race. Obviously, that didn't happen. Then now you're pinning your hopes on Champions League, and that's in a balance tomorrow as well. But the fact that Spurs have had such a terrible season, like the likes of which most of us haven't seen for a very long time, and then we go on to win a Europa League trophy, a European trophy. I mean, I'm not trying to, and I'm not trying to be funny or anything. I'm not trying to.
No, it's a fair question.
Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah. Like for me, if I'm at the other end, like say Spurs are challenging for the title, we don't quite make it. We're firing on all cylinders. Get knocked out of the semis, and Arsenal car crash season. Finish 17th, but go on to win a European Cup. I would feel sick to my stomach, and I'll be asking questions of the board, the management, everything, the players.
If that happens, we have to protest. If that happens, we need to protest. I want the biggest protest in North London there's ever been if that happens.
Go on, sorry. Finish what you're saying.
Because my club should have standards. Where the hell have the standards gone to my club? No offence, I'm not taking the piss, but we're not a used lot. We have standards. I'm not taking the piss, but that's true.
No, I agree.
We have standards. I don't know what's happened to my club. We've had players over the years who have been quality, and now I'm having to deal with bloody Odegaard. Seriously? No.
I mean, you have become basically the biggest bottle jobs in the Premier League. I mean, you can talk about Spurs all you want being bottle jobs through their life. No shit, Sherlock. We know that stuff, yeah? But Arsenal of the past 5 years have basically been the biggest bottle jobs about. When it has come to the crunch, they've bottled it every single time. And you know what? I don't see Arteta's going anywhere, personally.
All the boards care about is top four money. All they care about is Champions League. They don't care about anything else. That's the reason why we haven't spent on quality up front. They don't care.
No, I disagree with that. I think your board gives more of a shit than ours do. Yeah? I mean, I'd quite happily swap them over. Not by much. Not that they're like
not by much.
Spend 100 mil on Declan Rice.
Well, yeah, there's that, but up front in midfield, yeah. But why haven't they done it up front now? That's what I'm on about.
I can't answer that, but I do think they put a bit more effort into your lot. Okay, but I think they put more effort into your lot than our lot does into ours. We go and buy
that's true.
Richarlisons and Johnsons. You go and get a Declan Rice. Surely they're showing that.
Yeah, and Kai Havertz as well.
wasn't exactly your best pick, I didn't think, but
Yeah.
Arteta wanted him. But I think if I'm going to be honest, I think I'd rather have Havertz than Solanke. I mean, I don't know about you two. Hey, Mike, what do you think? That would you rather have Havertz or Solanke?
Well, look, I think
It's
think
not the best of options, is it?
I think Michael might agree with me, but I think Havertz has more pedigree than Solanke all day long.
I agree.
You know, let's be honest. The guy's won trophies. He's played for massive clubs. Solanke's had one amazing season, and off the back of that, we bought him for 65 million. So, based on that, no matter what you say about Havertz, I would have him over Solanke. Say what you
Would you say Solanke's a one-season wonder then?
100%.
He's only had one good season in his entire fucking career.
Name me
And that
another
was last
season where he scored 20 plus goals. You can't.
Never. Last season.
No, any other season, like apart from the season before we bought him.
In the championship once he scored like 26 or something, right? But it's championship.
Yeah, but that's the championship. Exactly.
When it comes to the top football, he has done absolutely jack shit. I know he's won a title with what was it with Liverpool? I think he did, and he scored a goal in the season.
Chelsea. It was Chelsea.
Is it Chelsea?
He won the Champions League. He won the Champions League with Chelsea.
Also, can I ask how much you paid for? How much did you pay for Havertz?
I think
65 million.
65 million.
And he's nearly on £300,000 a week, plus bonuses.
There you go.
Need I say more?
Basically, for me, right, choosing between Solanke and Havertz, it's like choosing between getting kicked in the face and in the balls, right? Like, which one does more damage, right? Like that depends, because like the kicking the balls would hurt more, right? But at least you aren't ugly for a month with a black eye and a broken nose or something, right? So like you really have to like wager which one does more damage, right? But honestly, I think I agree with what Has said, right? Havertz has more pedigree. He won more trophies, right? I think overall he looks like a better player, but the amount of misses this guy fucking gets every single game, the amount of
hasn't got a good shot on him, has he?
Mate, he misses from 2 meters away. He's Werner 2.0 when it comes to finishing. Not that bad, right? Obviously, but you get the point. Like there were chances where he literally had to try to miss the chance, right? Like I don't understand. So it's I seriously I would rather not choose between both of them, right? But if I really had to choose, it would probably be Havertz, right? But not. Do
you know what?
Yeah.
There's a player that we have who's actually not a striker, that we've been playing striker, Mikel Merino, who's better than Havertz. And he's one goal behind Solanke.
Yeah.
I mean, what last question I'm going to ask quickly, yeah? I mean, and also you can have your opinion on this one, because you don't give a fair opinion. That's why I've got no problem letting you on it, and anyone's entitled to their opinion. With this number 10 problem that we've got, let's say we get through this to the final, because I agree with what Mike said and others have said in the aspect of I don't think Maddison is that much of a miss for this game, but for the final, he's going to be a mega miss as far as I'm concerned. What do we actually do there? Do we put Kulusevski there? Or do we go and give Mikey Moore a go there, who is more creative? What do we do with that one? I mean, I've already said what I would put the way I would do it, but I know I've seen a lot of others with a different opinion on it. What do you two reckon?
I wouldn't have Mikey Moore there if I'm being. I like the kid. I think he's got great potential. Whether he's going to realise that potential at Spurs or not, I don't know. But in a game of this magnitude, you need experience. No matter what you say, you need experience. You can't, and it's been proven. Well, you don't win stuff with kids, right? It's a massive game for anyone of his age, a 17-year-old to come into. Look, again, Yamal being that exception, the kid's an anomaly, right?
He's a freak.
Different. He's a freak, right?
He's a generational talent.
They're not on the same level. For me, I would take Kulusevski there, simply because he's got more experience. He's more of a stalwart in the team, should I say? You know,
I agree.
So yeah, in that instance, I think he'll just crumble. He'll be fanned out. You don't take chances on players in games like this. You go with
Exactly.
what you can depend on and trust. And I think for as maybe as bad as Kulusevski's been last few games, I think you'd still have to give him that opportunity ahead of Mikey Moore. It'd be ridiculous to do that.
I totally agree with you on that one. And Mike,
The only way I would consider playing Mikey Moore there is if we started doing that 3 games ago and doing this every single game until the final, right? And
Exactly.
Got to go, lads. Thank you. Dan, got to go. Thank you for having me on.
Cheers, buddy.
No
Good luck
problem.
tomorrow.
Cheers, mate. Good luck to you tomorrow.
Cheers.
get beat,
Thank
but
you.
Good luck, or not really, but good luck, right?
Yeah. I mean,
No, I
there's a bit of
I genuinely mean it, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, I genuinely mean it. It's all
bollocks,
good.
do you? There's a better way to put it. Break a leg.
Yeah. Coming back, right? If we started doing that 3 games ago and he was doing well in the number 10, then I would consider it, right? But it's a dumb thing to do for me to throw, no matter how talented the kid is, right? Like the occasion can eat him, right? Especially at his age. One thing he does, let's imagine he like loses the ball in the midfield and United or Bilbao go on to score a goal, right? It's done. You then have to substitute him probably, and then it kills him, right? Then it kills him career. It kills his career, right?
Because we don't know what his mentality is, do we?
For me in a game like this, right? If we get to the final, you pick a team that's the most reliable, in my opinion, right? Like you pick players for positions that give you the most stable performance, right? Like you can have 1 or 2 like ace up your sleeve kind of players, right? Where or like Mavericks, right? You don't really know what they are going to give you, but the rest of the team is settled, right? But our team is not really settled that much to have a player like Mikey Moore in the center of the pitch playing as a number 10, right? On the wing, maybe I could consider this if he played for the next few games and did really well on the wing, right? But not in the center of the pitch.
In such a central area. That's effectively that's the nervous system of the team.
Yeah, he's
quite a few people have said put him there instead of Kulusevski. Like for the next few games.
I don't agree with it. And
listen, I respect it. I don't agree with it.
Yeah,
simple.
I think that's a good way to put it, right?
I mean, if we're in the last 15 minutes and we're a goal down and we are desperate and it just ain't working with, say, Kulusevski there or whatever, I could understand bringing him on for a chance.
100%, because you've got nothing to. You got at that point, you've got nothing.
Nothing to lose.
And even if Mikey comes on and he has a poor game in that 15 minutes, no one's going to blame it on him, because he's only come on for 15 minutes. So for me, 100%, I would say Kulusevski's got to start there, because when he's played well in that position, everyone sort of said, well, maybe he can continue playing in that position. When he's played there and he's played well, it's been amazing. So he just, for me, he's got that experience, and that sometimes gives you the edge over someone with potential or God-given talent, at his age.
I agree. And I mean, for me, he's another one. I see a lot of potential in him, but I think he's another one that the Spurs fans have a habit of putting him right up there before he's even taken like he's running before he can even walk, sort of thing. I think he's
Dan. Also, if I can add on to that, right? Let's assume we get to the final and play against United, right? They will most likely play a double pivot of Ugarte and Casemiro, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine Mikey Moore against Casemiro, right? And just from a physical point of view, right? Like, Casemiro is a big guy, right? And Mikey Moore is quite he's 17, right? There is still plenty of...
He's a boy.
He's still growing.
He's a boy against a 32-year-old 5-time Champions League winner, right? That's not a game where you test him, right? As I said, the only way I would consider this if he played for like 7 games in a row in the midfield and smashed it, right? Then you can then you can risk it, right? But not just like on a whim, just put him in the midfield and pray that he does well, right? For me, if we get to the final, the midfield should be Bentancur, Bissouma, Kulusevski. I know it's not exciting. I know it's not the most creative, but it's, as I said, for me, it's the most solid. You can, like, you aren't going to get a 10 out of 10 performance from them, but you aren't going to get like a 4 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10, right? Like,
Hopefully.
you can argue that Kulusevski has been playing like recently, right? But generally, I believe that Kulusevski can give you like a 7 out of 10 performance, and I think I would rather have that than Mikey Moore giving me a 2 or a 10, right? Because I don't think it would be anything in between. Like, it would be either a complete disaster or a masterstroke, right? So probably more likely a disaster, right? With all due respect to Mikey Moore's talent. So for me, it's the midfield I mentioned. I would play Solanke, Son, and Johnson even up front, right? Or maybe like Odobert instead of Johnson. That depends, right? And I would play Porro, Van de Ven, Romero, and Udogi or Spence, right? That's the team I would put out there if we go to the final. It's solid. These players have played with themselves a lot, right? Sorry, that sounded wrong. Again, English is not my first language. Sorry, boys.
We love you. This is why we love you, Michael. This is why we love you.
You get the point, right? They have the chemistry between them, right? So
yeah.
They've got experience together.
Yeah, they've got
basically what you say.
Together. And that just gives us the most probability of doing well in a final, right? Rather than just throwing, because if we throw Mikey Moore in the midfield, why not throw, like, I don't know who, but like Ajayi on the wing, right? Because maybe he will perform better than Johnson, maybe not, right? But you can then start making cases.
Might as well put Archie Gray in midfield then as well.
Yeah.
No, I totally get where you're going from. Right, last question I ask then, you two. What is the score going to be on Thursday?
Good question. Do you want me to go first whilst you think?
Yeah, go on.
Because I think I know already. I think we're going to lose 3-2. I think it will be a high-scoring game. You'll see. You'll see. They'll get a goal. And then it'll be like, tit for tat. I think 3-2.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I just think it will be 2-1. I think it will be a bit more cagey. So like 2-1 to Bodo, I mean, right? I think Bodo will win, but we will go through.
And can I just add on that? I think most of the drama will happen towards the end of the game. Late drama.
No, with what you've said there, I totally agree with it. But I'm going to go 2-1 Bodo as well, because I must admit, I mean, if anyone can fuck this up, Tottenham can fuck this up. We all know that, yeah? And if anyone can just get it totally wrong, we also all know that Ange is the man to do that, and we don't want him to. But I'm going to go 2-1 Bodo as well, which also puts us through to the final. So, Mike, cheers for coming on. Angus, Dietrich, Has, brilliant to see you on here, mate. Are we going to see you around anymore? Mike, I know you are.
Mike. You know what it is? People have been asking me. I haven't seen you around for a while. You coming back on and stuff. So what I'm trying to do is just try and come on here and there a bit more often. Believe it or not, I still watch most of the pods, yours, Tottenham Away, Heritage, all the channels. I still watch it in the background. But I'll be back in some capacity or another. I've actually got a season ticket for next year as well, so I'll be going to the games, so I can give a bit more of a match day experience. But I'll give you the circumstances of it another day, but I've got myself a ticket. Let's see what happens.
Well, good luck for you with the ticket and that. I must admit, after this year, I wouldn't want a season ticket. I'm going to be honest, because it's got to the point where they can't even give away the fucking tickets for the games. That is how poor we have become at Spurs, that you can't even give away a ticket for a fucking game. Anyway, people, thanks for watching. Everyone coming on, give us a quick like and subscribe, be appreciated, and have a good night. See you later.
Cheers.
I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.